Today we're gonna discuss the three theory of human nature. The first theory is the human person as an immortal soul. A theory is that the human person has an immortal soul. The human person has an immortal soul, which is the source of movement. Therefore, you have a soul since you are moved from within. The second theory is the human person as a composite of body and soul. Life or soul is the source of the human life that enabled him to do actions or activities. The body cannot be separated from the soul. Therefore, without the soul, the body will not have a life. The third theory is the human person as a thinking thing. It starts the search that the mind is a thinking thing, while the body is a non-thinking thing. However, he can exist without this simple non-thinking thing, since the human nature is a pure-minded and the body is an accident.
Hello and welcome to Philosophy by the website when we discuss and debate different philosophical ideas. Today, we're gonna be looking at the concept and the nature of God. Now, philosophy of religion is centered a lot around God, so it's good just to pull back and understand. What do we mean when we're talking about God? So think. If someone wants to ask you to describe God, what would you say?
Well, I would prefer to him as the creator, a supreme being that created the entire universe.
Yes, good. That is a common understanding within a Judeo-Christian belief in God. He's seen as the creator of everything, the creator of the heaven and the universe of life as we know it. Now, do you think this is a reasonable belief to have?
Well, yeah. Why? Well, as we can see, life exists. The universe exists, and this had to come from somewhere. It seems reasonable to argue. There must be a being who existed before the universe and was able to bring the universe into existence. And that being we know of as God.
Exactly. Everything we see here today must have come from somewhere, and many religions hold that this came from God. Now, as there was nothing before God, if He created everything, this would mean that God created everything. So God created the whole universe out of nothing, right? However, isn't there a problem here? If God created everything out of nothing, then who in fact created God?
Theorist world have to agree with Aristotle that God is the unmoved mover. The universe is contingent, it's forever changing, and it's dependent on something else for its existence. It could quite possibly not have existed if circumstances were different. So in order for this to come into existence, it needs a being to cause the motion and start the whole thing. However, this being cannot itself have been caused by anything. Otherwise, there would just be an infinite regress. So God is a being who can move other things, but He was not moved by anything. Prior as this was not anything. God Himself is uncaused, yet He is the being which caused everything else, that original craftsman. He built everything and nothing built Him.
Okay, I understand. And from there, is it right to agree that as He created everything, created the motion, all the laws of nature that govern the universe, He is actually all-powerful. He is omnipotent. He is not Himself found by any natural laws as He is the one who creates these laws.
Correct. This is the common Judeo-Christian understanding of God, the creator and everything. An unmoved mover is an all-powerful being.
Is it fair to argue that as God is the creator of everything, He is therefore responsible for everything that happens?
Well, you could say that all the laws of nature and how our planet functions, He is responsible for as He set these laws in motion. However, when it comes to human choices, many argue that God gave humans free will, the ability to choose their own actions. This would therefore make us responsible for our own actions and not God. And we could not expect God to intervene as this would contradict free will.
Very interesting point. Let's then look at God and morality for a second. The Bible claims that God is benevolent, so He is all-loving. He wants people to act in the best way, and He wants people to be happy. And because God knows everything, He therefore knows what it means to be morally perfect.
Yes, so because of this, God becomes the source of human ethics. He can tell us what is right and what is wrong, because He is all powerful and all knowing. He knows the perfect way to behave, and because of this, He becomes the lawgiver. He gives humans the code to live by. He tells us how we should act. We then derive our morals from God, who is the supremely perfect being.
Okay, that makes sense. However, does the Yuti-Fu dilemma not create complications for this belief? The Yuti-Fu dilemma simply asks, is what is morally good commanded by God because it is morally good, or is it morally good because it's commanded by God?
Why is that dilemma?
Well, let's take the first half. Let's say morally good is commanded by God because it's morally good. That would mean there's a higher source that has determined what morally good is. And God just knows what this is, and is trying to get humans to act that way. It's almost as though morality exists prior to God, it above God. It was something that God Himself discovered, so He commands it because He knows it's morally good, not because He created it. Well, this would seem a bit weird that the unmoved mover, the creator and everything, actually didn't create morality but rather moral truth existed prior to God. It says no, this came from an even higher source.
Well then, I would have to say that something is morally good because it is commanded by God. One of the most interesting ideas in philosophy lies in the little masterpiece called The Symposium, written by the philosopher Plato.
Romantic love, beautiful and intoxicating, heartbreaking and soul-crushing, often all at the same time.
Why do we put ourselves through its emotional wringer? Does love make our lives meaningful?
Or is it an escape from our loneliness and suffering?
Is love a disguise for our sexual desire?
Or a trick of biology to make us procreate? Is it all we need?
Do we need it? If romantic love has a purpose, neither science nor psychology has discovered it yet. But over the course of history, some of our most respected philosophers have put forward some intriguing theories. Love makes us whole again. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato explored the idea that we love in order to become complete. In his Symposium, he wrote about a dinner party at which Aristophanes, a comic playwright, regales the guest with the following story.
Humans were once creatures with 4 arms, 4 legs, and 2 faces. One day, they angered the gods, and Zeus sliced them all into 2. Since then, every person has been missing half of him or herself.
Love is the longing to find a soulmate who make us feel whole again. Or at least, that's what Plato believed a drunken comedian would say at a party.